There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when the weight of your life can be shifted with a single act. Not a miracle, not a magic wand, but a habit, a simple, sacred decision to do something different tonight, so you can wake up a new person tomorrow. There is a kind of power that does not shout. It does not race. It does not demand the room. This power is still. This power is soft, and it is in your hands every night just before you sleep. We live in a world that celebrates motion. We rush to prove. We scroll to feel seen. We chase moments to post instead of moments to protect. And at the end of the day, we carry all that noise home with us. We bring it to our beds. We lay down our bodies, but never our burdens. And so we wonder why rest does not restore us, why we wake up tired after hours of sleep. It's because our minds never stopped moving. Stillness before sleep is not just an idea. It is a return to yourself, a reclaiming of peace that the world tried to borrow all day long. It is the habit of saying, no more noise tonight. I will not end the day in chaos. I will not drag the confusion of the world into the temple of my rest. To be still does not mean to do nothing. It means to become aware of what the day planted inside you, aware of the thoughts running wild, aware of your breath, aware of your being. Stillness invites you to listen, not to the opinions of others, not to the false standards of success, but to the soft hum of your own spirit saying, you made it through another day. We have learned to chase our goals, but not our grounding. We have mastered multitasking, but forgotten how to sit with ourselves. Stillness before sleep is a holy rebellion, a choice to step out of the noise and into your nature. And nature, at its most powerful, is often quiet. The ocean before dawn, the sky before the sun, a seed becoming a tree in the dark without any applause. When you practice stillness, you're not wasting time, you're reclaiming it. You are saying that your presence matters more than your productivity. You are saying that healing does not have to come with drama, that peace can arrive gently, like a whisper across your heart, if you let it. Some nights, stillness will feel like surrender, and that's exactly what it is. Not defeat, but surrendering the pressure, the weight, the pace that was never yours to carry. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to let go. You are allowed to become soft in a world that told you to be still all day. Stillness is the art of becoming your own sanctuary. It's not about candles or incense or perfection. It's about choosing not to be consumed. It's about sitting in silence, not because there's nothing to do, but because for once you don't need to do anything to be enough. In the quiet, your soul breathes. In the stillness, your truth rises. There is no need to earn sleep. There is no need to perform before rest. You are not a machine to shut down. You are a soul to be soothed. Let the silence wash over you like a balm. Let it speak louder than the chaos did. Stillness before sleep changes everything because it changes how the day ends. And how a day ends shapes how the next one begins. If you end in panic, you wake up in tension. If you end in numbness, you wake up disconnected. But if you end in stillness, you wake up whole. Start small, 1 minute, close your eyes, no music, no messages, just breath, just presence. 1 minute of simply being. And in that minute, you will meet yourself. The part of you that is not broken, the part of you that is not exhausted, the part of you that has always known the way back to peace. You deserve to feel what it's like to rest without guilt, to breathe without rushing, to exist without explaining. You deserve a moment that belongs to no one else but you. Let stillness be the habit that carries you into the night, not with fear, but with reverence, not with exhaustion, but with awareness, not with scrolling, but with sacred silence. Because when the world grows quiet, the soul begins to speak, and what it has to say will change your life. Reflection is not a weapon. It is a window, a soft mirror that allows you to look at your day, your choices, your heart, not to punish yourself, but to understand yourself. Yet so many people avoid it, not because they're afraid of reflection itself, but because they have been taught that looking back must come with shame, that every mistake must be magnified, that every misstep must echo. So they run, they distract, they bury the day instead of learning from it. But reflection, true reflection, is an act of compassion. To reflect without shame is to sit with your day and say, let me see what I can carry forward and what I must leave behind. It is not self-attack, it is self-awareness. And self-awareness is not cruel, it is clear. We have all done things we wish we hadn't. We've said words we wish we could rewind. We've made decisions from fear, from fatigue, from desperation. But those things are not the whole story. They are moments, fragments. And the beauty of reflection is that it gathers those scattered pieces, not to trap you in guilt, but to teach you how to walk differently tomorrow. The habit of reflection is the habit of returning to yourself. Not the edited version, not the version that smiles on command, the real one, the one that tried, the one that stumbled, the one that stayed. You, to reflect without shame is to remember that you are not only your brightest days, you are also the days you survived, the nights you got through, the mornings you rose when no one knew how heavy the night had been. When you sit at the end of the day, don't come with judgment, come with curiosity. Ask yourself, what felt good today? What drained me? Where did I feel most like myself? Where did I abandon myself? These are not accusations, they are invitations. You're not meant to win every moment. You're meant to witness them, learn their textures, feel their weight, understand their message. That is the power of reflection. It turns your days into lessons. It transforms your stumbles into signals. It reveals patterns not to criticize you, but to free you. Shame shrinks you. Reflection expands you. Shame says, you are wrong. Reflection says, here's where you could realign. Shame traps you in a loop. Reflection opens a door. This habit, when practiced consistently, becomes a form of emotional hygiene. Just like we brush our teeth and wash our skin, our minds need cleansing too. And nothing clears the clutter like calm reflection. You don't need an hour. You need honesty. You need space. And you need the willingness to be gentle with what you find. Because here's the truth. Reflection without grace is just cruelty. You cannot grow if you are constantly punishing yourself. You cannot evolve if you are endlessly rehearsing your faults. You cannot become who you are meant to be if you only ever remind yourself of who you were on your hardest day. There is a softness to this habit, a quiet mercy. It tells you, yes, you made a mistake, but you are not a mistake. It tells you, yes, you could have done better, but look, you care enough to notice. That is growth. It tells you, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. So many people carry the weight of their days into their identity. One bad decision becomes their name. One failed attempt becomes their definition. But reflection says you are allowed to review without becoming ruined. It's not about making every day flawless. It's about making meaning out of each one. You are a human being becoming. That means you are allowed to be messy, learning, and still deeply valuable. In fact, it is in your reflection that your power becomes visible, because you begin to see your patterns, and once you see them, you are no longer controlled by them. You see where you give too much, where you stay too long, where you silence yourself, and you also see where you shine, where you speak truth, where you show courage, where you come alive. This is not just review, it is restoration. You're pulling the pieces of your life together to understand their purpose. You're giving yourself the dignity of being studied, not by critics, but by your own heart. And over time, this habit changes you. You become more intentional, more grounded, less reactive. You stop repeating what hurt you because now you recognize it. You stop overextending yourself because now you see your limits. You begin to walk in alignment with your truth because now you've taken the time to know it. So reflect, but do it gently, do it bravely. Do it not to beat yourself up, but to build yourself up, because every day is trying to tell you something. And if you listen without shame, you just might hear the wisdom that will carry you forward whole. There is a voice inside you that shapes your life more than any other. It is not the voice of your critics, not the voice of your past, not even the voice of the world. It is your own, the words you whisper to yourself when no one is listening, the way you speak to your own soul when the lights go off and the crowd is gone. That voice builds you or breaks you. And far too many of us have been speaking to ourselves like we are unworthy of softness. We speak harshly to our hearts as if they are made of stone. We rehearse every flaw, repeat every failure, and bury every compliment. We talk to ourselves in ways we would never talk to a child. And that is the problem, because you are still someone's child, even if your mother is no longer here, even if your father never stayed, even if no one ever held your face and said, "You matter," you still do, and you are still sacred. To speak to yourself like you are sacred is not about ego. It is not about pretending you are perfect. It is about recognizing that you are a living soul, worthy of dignity, compassion, and care. We often wait for the world to affirm us, to love us, to choose us. But the truth is, the world learns how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. If your inner dialogue is rooted in cruelty, you teach people that you expect to be mishandled. If your inner voice is a bully, your outer life becomes filled with wounds that echo what you're already saying inside. The most radical thing you can do in a noisy, judgmental world is speak to yourself with tenderness, not fake flattery, not surface-level affirmations you don't believe, but truth, grounded, healing truth, like, I am allowed to be learning. I don't have to get it all right to be worthy. My presence matters even if my performance doesn't impress. I have made mistakes, but I am not a mistake. My softness is not my weakness. It is my strength. These words are not indulgent. They are essential. They are medicine for the parts of you that have been bruised by years of inner violence. You see, the way we talk to ourselves becomes the foundation for everything else we build. Confidence doesn't grow in criticism. Self-respect doesn't grow in shame. Peace doesn't grow in pressure. These things bloom in the soil of kindness, patience, and love. You are allowed to rewrite the script. You are allowed to stop repeating the voice of a parent who never saw you, a teacher who labeled you, a lover who broke you. You are allowed to say, that voice is not mine anymore. You can create a new one, a softer one, a truer one. Because somewhere inside, beneath the noise, there is a version of you that still believes, still hopes, still dreams, still deserves to be spoken to like a miracle in motion. When you start speaking to yourself as if you are sacred, you begin to heal in invisible ways. Your shoulders soften, your breathing deepens, your decisions shift. You stop settling for environments that bruise you because you've learned how to be safe within yourself. It doesn't mean you never feel doubt. It doesn't mean you don't have hard days. It means that when the storm comes, your inner voice becomes your shelter, not another source of harm. And sometimes it's not even full sentences. Sometimes it's one phrase, repeated like a prayer. I'm doing the best I can. I am allowed to rest. I will not speak to myself like I am disposable. I still belong here. Say it in the mirror. Say it when you wake up. Say it before bed. Say it when the fear rises. Say it when you've made a mess of things. Say it until it becomes a rhythm in your chest, a truth stitched into your spirit, because the way you talk to yourself is the way you love yourself. And you, beloved, are sacred. Not because of what you've accomplished, not because of how others see you, but simply because you are here, breathing, becoming, belonging. Let your voice be a sanctuary. Let it be the first place you feel safe. Let it be the soil where your soul grows strong. You deserve to hear your own name and not flinch. You deserve to live in a body that isn't at war with its own words. You deserve to be spoken to with the reverence you were born with, because sacred things are not shouted at, they are honored, and so are you. The mind is a collector. By the end of the day, it has gathered every comment, every glance, every worry, every to-do left undone. It gathers what was said to you and what was never said. It holds on to your mistakes and your victories alike. But here's the truth. Not everything deserves to be carried. You cannot sleep in peace while holding the entire day in your hands. You cannot dream while dragging the weight of every moment that passed. And yet, we try. We lie in bed replaying conversations, rethinking decisions, rehearsing things we'll never say. And then we wonder why rest won't come, why sleep feels shallow, why mornings feel heavy. You were not built to carry it all. At the end of the day, you must become a gatekeeper. Not everything gets to follow you into tomorrow. Not every voice, not every fear, not every demand. You get to choose. You get to decide what thought crosses the threshold from this day into the next. The mind, when left unattended, will fill itself with clutter. And the habit of choosing one thought to carry is the discipline of emotional simplicity. It's how you turn chaos into clarity. It's how you say, I will not let this day define me. I will define what I take from it. This isn't about ignoring problems or pretending pain doesn't exist. This is about protecting your peace so that you can face those problems from a place of strength, not exhaustion. You cannot solve tomorrow's storm if you are soaked in yesterday's rain. So how do you choose the one thought? You slow down, you sit with yourself, you look at the landscape of your day and ask, what do I want to remember from today? Not what hurt the most, not what disappointed you, but what matters, what deserves your energy. Sometimes that thought will be a lesson. Sometimes it will be a moment of gratitude. Sometimes it will be something you want to change, but it will be just one. When you practice this, you learn to value your mental space. You stop treating your mind like a storage closet for every emotion and begin treating it like a sacred space for what deserves to live there. Letting go of the rest is an act of trust. Trusting that you don't need to fix everything tonight. Trusting that not every thought deserves your attention. Trusting that peace is a choice you can make, even if chaos tried to take your day. There is a certain kind of strength in saying, I'm not taking this thought with me. It may come knocking again tomorrow, but tonight it does not get in. Tonight, you make room only for what brings you closer to who you're becoming. Let the criticism go, let the shame go, let the fear of what someone thinks go, let the pressure go. Choose instead a thought that feeds you, something simple, something that feels like a seed you can plant rather than a weight you have to bear. I'm proud of how I showed up today. I handled that moment with grace. I learned something important. I deserve rest. I'm growing, even if it's not obvious. I am enough, just as I am. One thought, that's it. The rest can wait. The rest can go. Because peace isn't built by holding on to more. It's built by releasing what's too heavy to hold. And the beautiful thing about this habit is that it doesn't just change how you sleep, it changes how you live. When you begin choosing what you carry, you begin realizing how much you were carrying that never belonged to you in the first place. Other people's expectations, unfinished arguments, old identities. When you let them go, you feel your soul rise. Some nights it will be harder than others. The noise will be louder, the pain will sit closer, but the habit remains the same. Choose one thought, let the rest go. Not because it isn't real, not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more. You deserve to rest with a clear mind and a heart that isn't overrun by what ifs. You deserve to sleep in peace, not in punishment. You deserve to wake up lighter, freer, clearer, because you chose not to carry what was never meant to stay. So tonight, before you lay your head down, pause, listen, find the one thought that feels like truth. Let it be your companion in the dark. Let it be the melody that sings you to sleep. And when morning comes, you'll rise not with the weight of yesterday, but with the wisdom of what you chose to carry forward. The world teaches us to achieve, to perform, to grind, to prove. We are told our value comes from what we do, how much we give, how fast we move, how well we keep up. But in all this noise, we forget something sacred. We are not machines. We are not designed for constant output. We are souls with tenderness, bodies with limits, hearts that bruise easily in silence. And to survive in a world that constantly asks for more, we must learn to give ourselves something soft, something sacred, something gentle. A gentle act that honors you is not a luxury. It is not indulgence. It is oxygen. It is a declaration, I still matter to me. It is a quiet rebellion in a loud, relentless world. It says, I will not abandon myself in the name of being productive. Each day takes something from you, energy, patience, attention. But not every day gives something back. That is why you must. That is why you must become the one who returns to yourself. Not with shame, not with exhaustion, but with love. You don't need a grand gesture. You need presence. You need intention. A single act that says, I see you. One small ritual that tells your nervous system, your soul, your spirit, you are not forgotten. It could be lighting a candle as the sun sets. It could be placing your hand on your chest and breathing in 5 seconds of quiet. It could be writing a single sentence in a journal. It could be drinking your tea slowly instead of on the run. It could be stretching your body like an offering. It could be speaking one kind word to the mirror instead of rushing past your reflection. The act itself is not what matters. What matters is that it's done with reverence, with presence, with the energy of honoring, not fixing, not rushing, not performing, honoring. This practice reminds you that you are not just the roles you play. You are not just the tasks you complete. You are not the mask you wear to be acceptable. Beneath all that, you are a living being. And living beings need nourishment. Gentle, steady, soulful nourishment. When you do one gentle act that honors you, you begin to shift the way you see yourself. You begin to remember that you are not just the caretaker of others, but also the keeper of your own light. You remember that you are worthy of softness, even on the days you weren't strong. You remember that healing doesn't always come in loud transformations. It often begins in silent rituals. This act becomes a signal to your nervous system. We are safe. We are valued. We are still loved here. It undoes the damage of the day, the way you were overlooked, the moment you were disrespected, the things you kept quiet about. It doesn't erase the pain, but it reminds you that you can still come home to yourself. And that changes everything, because the world will not always hand you kindness. It will not always slow down for your needs, but you can. And once you begin doing it, even in the smallest ways, you start to rebuild the trust you've lost with yourself. You start to believe again that you are worth your own time. There is something powerful about making time, even just a few minutes, to care for yourself. Not because you're broken, not because you're failing, but because you are human, because you exist. And that in itself is reason enough. These gentle acts are how you remind your spirit it is not forgotten. They are how you create sacred space in the middle of chaos. They are how you say, I matter, even when no one is watching. It's not about the size of the act. It's about the sincerity behind it. A whispered blessing, a warm bath, a walk under the evening sky, a poem read slowly, a prayer breathed in the dark, a moment of stillness after the world has gone quiet. Let this act become your anchor. Let it be the bridge between the day's end and your beginning again. Let it teach you how to return home to yourself, night after night, without needing permission. Because your body is not a battlefield. Your mind is not a storage closet. Your heart is not a trash bin for the world's projections. You deserve gentleness. You deserve beauty. You deserve care. And when you offer that to yourself, even in the smallest form, you begin to live not from depletion, but from devotion, not from emptiness, but from fullness. So each night ask yourself, what is one small sacred thing I can do to honor myself before sleep? And then do it, not because you earned it, but because you are already worthy, because you are already whole, because honoring yourself is not a reward, it is a right. You spend your days opening doors, responding, reacting, answering messages, listening to voices, meeting expectations, showing up when you don't feel ready, giving when you're running low, smiling when you're barely holding on. And if you're not careful, the world will convince you that this is normal, that you are here to be accessible at all times, that rest is earned only after everything and everyone has been taken care of. But the truth is, you were never meant to be available to the world 24 hours a day. Your soul was not designed for constant exposure. Your peace was not meant to be interrupted by pings, screens, or someone else's urgency. And your value is not determined by how much of yourself you give away to everyone else. That is why every night you must reclaim your space. You must draw a line, a quiet, powerful, invisible line that says, "This is where I end," and the world pauses. Setting a boundary with the world before bed is not about separation. It's about protection. It is not about rejection. It's about restoration. Because when the day ends, something sacred must begin, your return to yourself. You cannot give endlessly without losing your center. You cannot hold everyone's energy without draining your own. And you cannot move forward day after day if you never give yourself a true ending. That's what a boundary is. It's a pause, a limit, a safe place to stop. And yet, so many people resist it. They tell themselves they'll rest after one more message, one more video, one more scroll. They let the world seep in through the cracks of midnight. They invite in the noise even as their body begs for silence. And they wonder why sleep does not soothe them, why their dreams feel disturbed, why they wake up already exhausted. It is because they never truly closed the day. They never said, "This is enough." They never looked at the world and whispered, "Not now." You need that moment, that ritual, that clear and loving boundary that signals, I am no longer available for outside energy. I am no longer on call for the chaos. I am no longer plugged into everything but myself. Put the phone down, turn off the noise, dim the lights, close the tabs in your mind, let the notifications wait. Nothing sacred will be lost while you protect your peace. The world has taught us urgency. It has sold us the lie that we are important only when we are responding, only when we are producing, only when we are seen. But what if your most powerful moments are the ones no one else witnesses? The ones where you say, I choose me quietly. I choose peace gently. I choose to close the door on the world, not because I don't care, but because I do. This boundary is not cold. It is not harsh. It is a warm blanket of self-respect. It is a candle you light in the temple of your own heart. It is a reminder your rest matters. Your sleep is sacred. Your energy is not infinite. And you do not owe anyone your mind after the day has ended. Maybe you've never been taught how to do this. Maybe no one ever showed you how to say enough in a loving way. But you can start now. You can begin tonight. Start with something small, a time when the phone goes away, a breath before bed that says, this moment is mine. A sentence you repeat to yourself, I release the day. A song that brings you back into your body, a light you turn off, not just in the room, but in your racing thoughts. This boundary does not require explanation. You don't have to post about it. You don't have to prove it. It's not for show. It's for your soul. And the more you honor it, the more you'll notice something powerful. You begin to wake up lighter, clearer, more rooted in your own truth, because you allowed yourself to be whole overnight, not splintered by everyone else's expectations. Setting a boundary before bed is an act of maturity, of healing, of knowing that just because the world is loud doesn't mean you have to be. Just because others are still running doesn't mean you have to chase. Just because something is happening online doesn't mean it deserves your energy. It's okay to turn it all off. It's okay to disconnect. It's okay to say, right now, the only voice I need to hear is my own. This is how you become your own protector. This is how you create a rhythm that honors your spirit. This is how you teach yourself and the world that your peace is not negotiable. And slowly, this boundary becomes a ritual, a sacred rhythm, a way of coming home, not just to your bed, but to your being, to your breath, to the quiet knowing inside you that says, I am allowed to be unavailable to the world so I can be available to myself. Let that be your truth. Let that be your guide. Let that be your freedom. Because when you learn to end your day with boundaries, you begin your life with balance. And that changes everything. At the end of the day, when the noise has settled, when the world has gone quiet, when the lights are dim and the air is still, one truth remains. You are left with yourself. No audience, no filters, no masks, just you. And in that moment, how you treat yourself matters more than anything that happened in the hours before. Many people go to bed as their own enemy. They lie in silence with a voice in their head that critiques every move, replays every failure, and reopens wounds that were barely scabbed over. They carry to bed shame, regret, and comparison. They rest their heads on pillows soaked in self-blame. And they wonder why they wake up drained, even after 8 hours of sleep. Because rest does not restore what self-cruelty continues to destroy. That's why one of the most life-changing habits you can build is this. Go to bed as your own friend. Go to bed with a voice inside you that is kind, that sees your struggle and does not mock it, that notices your efforts and does not dismiss them, that offers comfort instead of criticism, that reminds you you did your best today and that is enough. Friendship is not just something we offer others. It's a way of being with ourselves. It's a posture of love, of grace, of forgiveness. And so many of us extend that posture to the people around us, encouraging them, comforting them, giving them space to grow, but we forget to do the same for ourselves. We forget to be our own soft place to land. You are with yourself every moment of your life, and the way you speak to yourself in the final moments of the day has power. It teaches your nervous system whether it is safe to relax. It teaches your heart whether it is safe to hope. It teaches your soul whether it is safe to stay soft. Friendship means saying to yourself, I know today wasn't perfect, but look at you. You stayed, you showed up, you felt, you tried. It means replacing what's wrong with me with what hurt me today and how can I care for that pain. It means speaking to yourself with the gentleness you offer to others when they fall apart in your arms. It is not weakness to be kind to yourself. It is strength. It is resilience. It is choosing to meet your humanity with compassion instead of cruelty. Think of what it means to be a friend, a real one, a true one. Friends don't demand perfection. They don't walk away when you're not your best. They don't call you names when you're in pain. They stay. They remind you of your worth. They say, you don't have to go through this alone. That's what you need from yourself at the end of the day. That's what your spirit craves in the dark. When the day has worn you down, when your strength is thin, When the weight of the world is sitting on your shoulders, be the one who takes your own hand. Be the one who says, you don't need to fix everything before you sleep. You don't need to carry it all into the night. You can rest now. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about being okay with the truth that you are a work in progress, that you're learning, that you're healing, that you're growing, even if it's not visible to the world yet. Friends don't ask for polish, they ask for presence. So offer that to yourself. Offer presence, offer patience, offer praise, not for the outcomes, but for the effort, for the way you kept going, for the small acts of courage no one saw, for the fact that you made it to this moment. Speak to yourself in ways that build, not break. Say things like, I'm proud of you for trying. You handled more than people know. You made mistakes, but you didn't give up. You are worthy of rest. You are enough even now. Say these things not just when you feel strong, but especially when you don't. That's when you need it the most. That's when your soul is looking for shelter, and you are the only one who can offer it from within. Going to bed as your own friend doesn't mean everything is fixed. It means that everything doesn't have to be. It means that you can lie down without judgment, that you can place your head on the pillow and know, I am safe with me. Over time, this habit begins to transform you. You stop seeking external validation to prove your worth. You stop chasing people who won't choose you. You stop punishing yourself for being human. And in that space of self-friendship, you begin to bloom. Because when you are your own friend, loneliness doesn't feel like abandonment. It feels like intimacy. It feels like peace. It feels like home. So each night before the day fades fully into tomorrow, choose kindness, choose warmth, choose words that heal, choose love, not from others, but from the deepest part of yourself. Go to bed not just with your body tired, but your heart held, your mind quiet, your soul honored. Go to bed as your own friend, because that is where true rest begins. And that is how true healing begins too. The habit isn't loud, it doesn't need applause, it doesn't need perfection, just presence, just permission. Tonight, do one sacred thing, turn the page, close the noise, and begin again softly on purpose. Because the one habit that changes your life overnight is the one that tells you, you still belong to yourself, and that, beloved, changes everything.